Good wonderful morning, United States. Good wonderful evening, Singapore and China. Good afternoon, Germany. Welcome to a Fashion Business Mastermind Q&A, your weekly board meeting where you ask important questions and get answers that help you to move the needle in your business. I'm Julianne Tofia, fashion inventor and manufacturer, 15 years in business, and your mentor on this wonderful journey. Stay tuned until the end of the Q&A and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ask your questions. I will be answering your questions live, and if you will be watching this video in replay, please submit your questions in the comments under the video, and I will be answering them on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Berlin time next week. Let's get started. Question number one, Cynthia is asking, what happens if the government considers your business a hobby in the United States? If the government considers your business a hobby, it means that the income from your business will not be considered as taxable income. Instead, the income will be considered as personal income and taxed accordingly. This also means that you will not be able to claim business expenses as tax deductions. The distinction between a hobby and a business is important for tax purposes. Therefore, I recommend to consult your tax professional for more information on this specific tax implications for your situation. What criteria have to be met so that government defines your business as a hobby? The criteria the government uses to determine whether a business is a hobby or for-profit venture are based on the IRS definition of not-for-profit activity. According to IRS, if an activity is not engaged in for-profit, it is considered a hobby. The IRS looks at the following factors to determine whether your business is a business or a hobby. Number one, manner in which the taxpayer carries on the activity. Number two, the expertise of the taxpayer or their advisors. Number three, time and effort put into the activity. Number four, expectation that assets used in activity may appreciate in value. Number five, success in carrying on similar activities. Number six, history of income or losses from the activity. And number seven, amount of occasional profits, if any, which are earned. So no single factor is determinative, and the IRS will consider all the facts and circumstances of each case to determine whether an activity is a business or a hobby. How many years can I run a loss-making business until it is classified as a hobby by the government? On the internet, you will get a variety of answers. Some people say 2 years, others say 3 years. There are some people saying 7 years. As a matter of fact, there is no amount of years determined that you can report losses. It does not depend solely on the amount of years that you report losses. The decision is made based on all the facts and circumstances of each case as outlined in the IRS guidelines. While having losses in the initial years of starting a business is common, it is important to have a plan to start turning profit in the later years of running a business. And if you have a history of consistent losses over a period of time, and you don't have a reasonable expectations of ever turning a profit, in the future, the IRS may consider your business a hobby. So if you want to understand your personal situation, I suggest you contact a tax professional. What is an example of a business that has been classified as a hobby? Imagine Mariah starts a business making and selling handmade fashion, and this is her side hustle. She enjoys the creative process of sewing and loves to experiment with different fabrics, patterns, and sewing techniques. She sells her fashion at local markets, at vendor shows, and online on Etsy, but she never turns a profit. She never turns a profit mainly because she cannot scale her business. In order to scale her business, she needs to sell more, and she could sell more if she could create more, but she cannot create more because she only has that many hours a day that she can sew, and she never thought about outsourcing her production to a factory, and hence she has to manufacture all her items by herself in her studio, and they come out expensive. So that's why she's not turning a profit, even though she has a lot of clients who want to buy her styles. She simply does not have time to make them, and she does not charge enough for them. Her costs are high, the prices do not accommodate, so she's not turning a profit. And despite reporting losses every year, Mariah continues to pour time and resources into her business because she simply loves it. And in this case, the government may classify the fashion business as a hobby because Mariah is not carrying out the activity in a manner consistent with a for-profit venture. She's not putting in the necessary time and effort to turn a profit, and she seems to be more focused on the enjoyment of the activity than on generating income, which is all fantastic, but there is just this difference. Another example of having a business as a hobby, the same Mariah decides to outsource her manufacturing and she gets her inventory in. So her cost price is low, she can have a healthy markup, and she can sell it, but she simply does not put any efforts into selling them. And this inventory sits into her garage for the next 5 years. So it is very much possible that at a certain point in time, her business will be classified as a hobby because instead of selling her items, she's doing everything else. And sometimes she sells it and she enjoys it, but she does not put enough effort into her sales. So here are a few examples for you just to understand how it looks like a business that is not a business, but a hobby. Question number 2, Tammy is asking how to hire a virtual assistant. There are several cost-effective ways how to hire a virtual assistant for an US-based startup. The first way would be to find your virtual assistant on freelancing platforms such as Upwork, Fiverr, or Freelancer. These platforms represent virtual assistants from all over the world at competitive rates. This is the first way. The second way is to hire a virtual assistant from an outsourcing company based in the Philippines or in India, where wages are competitive. And the third way to hire a virtual assistant would be to utilize virtual assistant services such as Zirtual, MyOutDesk, and Virtual Stuff Finder, to name few, which provide US-based virtual assistants at an affordable price. So you can investigate these 3 different ways and see which one works for you. Regardless of the method you use, I recommend to interview several virtual assistants and test several virtual assistants to pick one that performs the best in the job on hand. What do I need to know prior to hiring a virtual assistant? Prior to hiring a virtual assistant, consider the following factors. Number 1, job responsibilities. Clearly define the tasks you want your virtual assistant to handle. Number 2, skills and experience. Make sure your virtual assistant has the necessary skills and experience to perform the job, and make sure that you define those skills and experiences that you need. You have to have all this data prepared before you start with the interview. Actually, at the moment that you start advertising for a position of a virtual assistant or inquiring for a virtual assistant to join your team. The third one would be availability. Determine the number of hours per week you need your virtual assistant to work and their availability. So how many hours, when should they be available? How many days, how many hours per day? The fourth factor would be communication. You will need to choose a virtual assistant who is responsive and easy to communicate with. Factor number 5 would be cost. Determine a budget for the virtual assistant and compare rates from different providers. Factor number 6, contract terms. Clearly define the terms of your agreement, including payment terms, work schedule, and expected outcomes. Factor number 7 is trust. Make sure you trust your virtual assistant to handle sensitive information and make decisions on your behalf. Factor number 8, standard operational procedures. Make sure you have a standard operational procedure in place for every process that you outsource. And factor number 9 are KPIs. Define key performance indicators on which the performance of the virtual assistant will be measured. By considering these factors, you can ensure a successful working relationship with your virtual assistant. Now, someone may ask, But where do I get all this data? How do I know what skills do they have to have? How do I know how much time do I need? How do I know what is my standard operational procedure? Those are so many points to think about to determine how do I know all those things. Well, you know all those things because at this point in time, you are the single person in your business doing a job of 10. And you are the one person who at this point in time is executing this work that you want to outsource to your virtual assistant. So you start writing a standard operational procedure based on what do. You start recording time, the amount of time that you need to accomplish this task. You list the skills that you possess to be able to do this task. Based on your personal experience, do you answer all these questions and then submit the necessary information to the companies where you hire your VA from. And then, as I've mentioned before, interview several VAs, test several VAs, and then pick one that is great for this process on hand that you are outsourcing. Different VAs specialize in different things. Different VAs are great at different processes. It is very possible that a VA that is very good at the process A will be unable to do a process B for you. I would define the standard operational procedures and outsource one process at a time, and maybe allocate different VAs to different processes based on their specialization. Question number 3, Chantal is asking, what website policies should be in place and published on my website? For example, privacy policy, are there any others? Yes, there are others. Here are several website policies that you absolutely need on your page as a clothing business. Number 1, terms of service. Number 2, privacy policy. If you are selling in Europe, it should be GDPR privacy policy. Pay attention to that, extremely important. 3, shipping policy. And 4, returns policy. So these 4 have to be on your page. So if you do not have them yet, please put them on. Question number 4, Cynthia is asking, what type of insurance should fashion businesses have? You need a business liability insurance. If you or your product causes any harm to a customer or their property, you could be held financially responsible. Business liability insurance protects you in such a case. So the first one, which is absolutely a must, is the liability insurance. And the second one, which you may need, but again, you need to discuss with your insurance agent. The second one is the business property insurance to protect against damage or loss of equipment and inventory. All of you have equipment. Those would be your computers, your printers, you have sewing equipment as well. You may want to protect it. All of you have inventory as well, which is inventory of your goods. You may want to protect it as well. You may want to insure it as well. So this would be business property insurance to protect against damage or loss of equipment and inventory. The amount of coverage will depend on the specifics of your business, and I recommend to speak with an insurance agent to determine the right coverage for your needs. Question number 6, Tammy is asking, if your business is less than 1 year old, do you still file taxes or do you wait for 1 full year? No matter how old your business, you still need to file taxes for the portion of the year that it was operating. I recommend to consult with your accountant for specific guidance on your business tax obligations. But you will need to file for taxes this year for this several months that your business was operating. Question number 7, Jack is asking how to build a course. Building a course is same as building a successful fashion product. You follow the very same steps and you will have a great course. There are several steps to building a course. Step number 1 is defining your target audience and your course objectives. Who are you going to teach and what results do you help your students to achieve? Those are 2 very important questions to answer. It is always good if your existent clients have asked you to teach them something. It means that you will be building your course based on an existent request, and it means that you already have your first students. The step number 2 is to conduct market research. Even though you have several students who are asking you for a course, You still go out there and you conduct the market research and see who is teaching. Is there anyone out there teaching the very same thing? What's being taught, how it is being taught. You want to investigate what is available on the market and add a wow factor to your course, something that everybody else does not have. What happens if you are conducting your market research and there is no one out there teaching a course like you are planning to teach? Most of the time it is a warning sign. Meaning that there is very little to no demand. So competition is fantastic. If there is competition, it means that there is demand for your product. And the only thing you need to do is to create a product that your clients want with a wow factor on the top of that your competition does not have. The third step would be to outline the course content and to determine how do you want to deliver it, the format of the course. Do you want to deliver it in a video, in text, in audio? What interactive elements do you want your course to have? The step number 4 would be to start creating your course materials, including instructional content, quizzes, assignments, and any other elements that support learning. So our courses have videos, have quizzes, and have a lot of exercises in them. Make sure to split your course into easy achievable steps that can be celebrated. Students enjoy a course more if their gratification is, if not immediate, then at least not delayed by way too much. The next step, number 5, would be to decide whether you want to offer your course on an existent course platform like Teachable, Thinkific, Udemy, or outside of such platforms. An advantage of a platform may be the authority that you leverage while publishing on an established course platform, and it may be some tools that this platform helping you with to generate traffic to sell your courses. I myself prefer to have my courses or our courses outside of such course platforms. The reason being that when you advertise for your course on course platform, if the person, the visitor that you brought, does not want your course, they're being offered other courses, they may buy something else there. Once your visitor that you have spent marketing budget on comes to a course platform, they're being shown your course, but also courses by other people. So they can actually choose to go for somebody else's course. It means that somebody else investing into advertisement may bring you new clients as well. But for me, it is way much more easier to pay for my own traffic and make sure that my unique visitors just see my course. This is why I prefer to have our courses for our company outside of the teaching platforms. And also, I myself have not really seen large evidence of grant support in traffic generation by these platforms. But I have to say that I also did not really dig into it and I did not inform myself. So if you want to make a sophisticated decision, you want to go and investigate these platforms and see how do they help you to sell. Do they help you to sell? How do they help you to sell? Will you be better by being there? Can you say, oh, I don't need to do any advertisement anymore because they bring me clients? This is the perfect world scenario. If you have a great support in advertising, if you gain clients without doing that much by yourself, it may be an advantage to be on the course platform. If there is no support whatsoever in terms of sales on those platforms, then the advantage of being there is really doubtful. So in such a case, I would simply run on a standalone platform of your choice. And if you decide to run on a standalone platform, so you have different choices. There is a simple choice and there is a more complicated choice. And I always recommend to start with the simple choice and the most cost-effective choice. So a most cost-effective and simple choice for you to start with your first course would be to place it into a Facebook group and use the guides, these learning guides as a presentation units of your course. Then all your students will enter the group by answering the group questions. Prior to that, they have already purchased the course and they will need to pay for the course outside of the Facebook environment. Facebook environment will be just the environment where they learn. And this is the simplest one. I have taken great courses in the Facebook environment. For example, the course 1000 Subscribers Challenge by Sean Cannell is in the Facebook. So you could really set it up in the very same way. It is simple and it is extremely cost effective. Once you've decided where to go with your course, where to upload it, do you go to the platform or are you staying on Facebook? In the Facebook group, do you take a Kajabi or do you take ClickFunnels? After this, as a next step, you upload your course content to the platform that you have chosen. And once done, you are starting a marketing campaign, recruiting your beta members. Those are the members who are entering your program at a competitive price, so you're giving them a great offer. This is a one-time offer they can accept. And your beta students, they help you to evaluate the course, calibrate the course, so they will give you feedback and improvement suggestions, and they will be generating the social proof for your course in form of testimonies. This is why your beta members are entering at an advantageous price, because they are going to generate all these testimonies for you at the end and or during the course, and on the top of that they're going to help you evaluate it and make it better. Once the course is tested with the beta members, you are launching the course as a next step, as step number 8, to the broader audience with a continuous marketing campaign that brings in new members. And this campaign that you are scaling in this step, you have been testing in the previous step. So you have been testing different ways to advertise for your course. You figured out the way, and what you are doing in the step number 8, while launching your campaign to a broader audience, you're simply scaling your previous marketing campaign, putting more ad budget to it. And course building does not end with the launch. You will be continuously updating and improving your course based on student feedback. So this is your step number 9. Of course, you will be asking me how to price your course. Number 1 is the price of your course depends on the size of the problem that you are solving for your clients, or on the amount of joy that you are bringing to your clients. And this is intangible good. You need to investigate it and make a sophisticated decision. You always can see how much does it cost you to deliver the course in physical components and in your time, and also how much do your competitors charge for comparable courses. So these could be your can be your input. However, you make your decision about the course pricing also based on the size of the problem that you help your clients solve, or on the amount of joy that you deliver to your clients. Ladies, we are through all the questions for today. Those were extremely good questions. If you need help with your fashion business, if you are just starting out, or you are already having your clothing business that does not really work as you would love it to work, please join the Fashion Business Mastermind. Follow the link in the description under this video and grab your 14 days free trial in Fashion Business Mastermind. In these 14 days, you will do more for your business than you have done in the past 3 years. This is a fact. We are running our weekly Q&A on Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Berlin time. If you have any questions about your fashion business, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fashion Business Mastermind, and ask your questions under the videos on the channel. They will be answered during the Q&A next week. I wish you a wonderful week ahead, and I'm looking forward to your questions for the next week. Wear your passion.